Everything at Auckland Zoo is about conservation, educating, advocating, and we do conservation hands-on in the field and make a direct difference in the wild.
This is why I do what I do. This is the epitome of it all.
We are scientifically driven and motivated.
This is the first time this has been done.
There must be a way we can succeed, and we're just going to keep trying.
Using our skills in the zoo to provide support for the most threatened species we have.
This time on Wild Heroes, a Sumatran tiger cub is rushed to the vet hospital.
We noticed there was something quite severely wrong.
Orangutan Daya is united with the family.
So much love and care and science goes into a journey like this.
And the zoo team embarks on a conservation emergency to the South Island.
This species may be on the absolute precipice of extinction.
In the morning when we arrive, the orangutans just waking up inside in their night quarters. We come into the habitat where we'll set them up for the day. We'll put food in the arboreal feeders so they can come out and have a little munch. Go around and find the remnants of yesterday's meals. This is puka. This is what Grace is putting up for them right now. We'll put up big bits of browse. They like to nibble at that all throughout the day. But this is what it looks like after they're done with it. They take the leaves off because these are no good. All the bark from the outside's totally been removed because that outside bark is delicious. The inside is what they like to scoop out. We'll feed them multiple times a day, food that they've got to process and work for. Because in the wild, they've got to go to the right trees, find the right parts of it, keeps their minds active, and they love doing it. So we just pick up the mess and they do it again. A few leaves that didn't pass the test. They didn't like that bunch.
Oakland Zoo has a long history with Sumatra. Since 2002, our Conservation Fund has supported Sumatran Orangutan Conservation Program. Daya came to Auckland Zoo as part of an international breeding recommendation. It's always a huge undertaking to import an orangutan from another country. There's a real science to it. It's been literally years in the making. Orangutan behaviour is very different to other grade 8 behaviour. They're very subtle. They don't use facial gestures to communicate. Most of it is done with their eyes, and that's a really subtle thing to be able to read. It takes years of experience to be able to do that. Daya is now thriving and loving life, living with Charlie, Whaomi and Malua. Whaomi and Daya are developing this beautiful relationship. Whaomi is just a little rambunctious toddler that needs an outlet for all this energy. Next for Daya, she's got a very exciting life ahead of her. She's going to breed with Charlie. She'll be closely watching Malua. That's how young female orangutans learn to be good mothers, purely through observation. We really want our community to understand how much love and care and science goes into a journey like this. That's what has set this up to be a real success.
We noticed one of the cubs had a little tumble. He wasn't holding his head right, and his body position when he did try and move wasn't that of normal mobility. Something was wrong with him. The veterinary advice was that we do bring him to the vet department for further inspection.
We could see there was a head or a neck trauma and a serious one. The cub, sadly enough, made a fall. Mom moved it to a ledge and it tumbled down. So what can we do in a short time, because we have to have the cub going back to mom. We made an assessment over the day, wanted to give it at least 24 hours. We gave it supportive treatment. That seemed to improve it a little bit. The next morning, we brought it back to her. She accepted it well, and we were really happy with that. But this morning, we assessed it again. The neurological signs were even slightly worse, and we could see that the cub had become very weak. It had not been drinking enough from her. It probably couldn't latch on properly. We have to take it back into the hospital for further supportive treatment.
I'm here to do the neurological examination of a tiger cub that sustained what we presume is a head injury.
We saw the cub crawling more than walking, and it was holding its head like sideways and kind of wanting to turn into circles to the right. So we knew there was something seriously wrong. The problem is that we have to be able to put this little cub back to mom, otherwise the bond gets broken and they often don't accept them back anymore. So we don't want to upset things too much and then have the risk also that she starts rejecting the other cub too.
Normal respiratory rate?
It's a bit faster. Nice and tiger smelly. You can already see he's holding that head like that. Tends to go obviously to the side of where his head is bending, but he's going backwards a lot more, which we did not see that much before.
I'll do some cranial nerve testing.
You're okay. I'm okay.
Oh, he's got a bit of a nosocoria.
Good boy. This side's just
now it's bigger, He's got nystagmus now. So can you tip your head back? Okay, so it's absent on the right side, but present on the left. This cub has sustained an injury to the part of his brain that controls balance, and that's what we call the vestibular system. So that's why he is wanting to circle to one side. He's also quite disoriented and showing some signs that his brain's pretty unhappy.
And what do you think about timeline? Because it's obviously been 48 hours.
Does he need to be normal tomorrow?
He needs to be able to suckle from mom. That is our main concern.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think starting with the bottle is a good idea. He won't be normal by tomorrow morning, without a doubt.
We've already given it 48 hours. By tomorrow morning, it will be 72 hours since the injury. We really need to see improvement. We've already pushed our limits a bit with Zayana because she has been so good and attentive and accepted it back even after 24 hours. But if we keep stretching that out, there's going to be a point where she is not accepting that cup anymore, and then we might also jeopardizing the other cup. We're going to have to see improvement by tomorrow morning. We've already pushed our limits with Zayana. There's going to be a point where she is not accepting that cup anymore, and then we might also jeopardize the other cup.
Do you want to try with the bottle? Just not swallowing. He licked a little bit, but it's a bottle one. Little dude. He's maybe a bit weaker, right? Having to monitor Z, she's carrying the girl around a lot.
We're not very happy with the progress. We should at least stay stable, not getting worse. We're professionals and we need to take these decisions for the welfare of the animals. That's what we're here for.
Unfortunately, his health had deteriorated within that time frame. We collectively as a team and vet department made the decision to euthanize him based on welfare grounds. It was the hardest call, but it was the right call for him. It's pretty devastating.
I haven't really talked about it too much yet. We worked so hard to provide the best opportunities for that little cub. It has been an incredibly hard time for the team. It was heart-wrenching. It is probably one of the hardest moments in my career. Mortality rates are incredibly high for tigers in the wild. It's normal for them to go through that process of calling and searching for a few days. That's what would happen out in the wild.
We'll continue to follow the science of care that we've established here at the zoo. Our main focus is on Ziana, and we're giving her the space and the time that she needs to be a mother, in the hopes that she does continue to provide this female cub with the utmost care that she has done up till now. We are strong, we are resilient, and we are a team, and we'll move forward in doing what's best for Ziana. It's been a few weeks now. Ziana and Cub are doing incredibly well. Ziana's doing everything right. She's looking after her. It's really, really nice to see. We have given our little female cub a name. Her name is Chaha, which Indonesian translates to light, which I think is really significant, especially with the loss that we've had recently of the male cub and the light that she's brought to our team.
It's so rewarding to see her growing and getting more and more confident with herself, and it reaffirms what we're here for and why we do the job that we do. She is reaching milestone after milestone. She's chasing after mum. She won't let Ziana sleep. She's busy jumping all over her face. She nibbles on her tail and her front feet. It's adorable. It's super rewarding to have the opportunity to just sit and watch her.
Night tigers, the iwi that hold mana whenua over more than 90% of the South Island. Biodiversity drives the planet. It's really, really important that we work together, saving these species that are so really threatened, highly endangered. We can make a difference.
We're currently in Fiordland. This is just the most spectacular environment. It's genuinely breathtaking. I don't believe there's a more beautiful place on earth. The Oakland skink is a critically endangered species of New Zealand native lizard. It's found in one tiny little strip of boulder field. The Department of Conservation have legitimate concern this species may be on the absolute precipice of extinction. Unfortunately, it's under immense pressure from invasive mammalian predators. This year, we're anticipating an explosion in rodent numbers, a wave of invasive mammals sweeping through their habitat, leaving them extinct. The Oakland skink was only discovered in 2014. Saying this skink is rare is an understatement. I would imagine less than 20 people have seen the skink in the flesh. It's a very, very exciting species to be working with. It's very new to science. We are working with the Department of Conservation and some private ecologists so that we can hopefully learn more about this species and safeguard them for the future. The aim this week is to collect 10 Oakland skink and bring them to Oakland Zoo. Either we'll be able to control the mice numbers, the skinks will be safe and we'll be able to return these animals, or we will need to act to have a notable breeding project to hopefully repopulate the wild, and then we'll have the data to know that we can safely and responsibly do that.
Awakapaka in Tereo means the foot of the glacier. You can see this is a pretty glacial environment. Just down the valley, a few hundred metres below us, there's beech forest, and around us is a lot of tussock in amongst the shrubs. And these systems have a simultaneous seeding or fruiting every few years, and this produces a huge amount of food. You end up with a huge number of mice and rats breeding up off that, and the mice move into these environments in large numbers. After us, they're about the second most successful mammal on the planet, but in the wrong environment, in the wrong ecosystem, they can cause havoc. We have a tiny moment in time to stop the Awakapaka skink from going extinct if our worst fears are realised.
The Oakland skink is a critically endangered species. The aim this week is to collect 10 skink and bring them to Oakland Zoo. This project is just an example of what we can do when we collaborate, pool resources, hopefully come out with a really positive outcome for this species.
Ready? No, sadly not. It's quite dry under there, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Really important we get them back exactly where they sit so we're not destroying habitat as we go.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're doing roughly 12-hour days each day. Yeah, it's pretty physical when we're out here in all conditions, be it glorious sunshine or rain and snow. The terrain we're working in is extremely challenging. The site's at quite high elevation. It is extremely uneven, very, very loose underfoot. Even the largest of rocks have a fair bit of movement. For the rest of the evening, we're going to be flipping rocks till either our bodies or our minds give out. Or we get to the bottom of the hill and we run out of rocks to flip.
Little centipede. Even if we end up with just 4 or 6 by the end of the week, that's enough to answer our principal question.
It doesn't matter what the sample size is, we can get some idea of how to care for them, see how they respond to life in an environment in the zoo.
I mean, it's quite possible that one of the management scenarios down the track for this species is something like barrier fencing for predators, in which case it's not going to be in this sort of habitat, it's going to be in something a little more stable down below.
I don't see us being in a position where we are clapping with, hey, job done in 18 months, 2 years. It's going to be a long road and hopefully we'll get the right outcome for the animals.
Yeah.
We're reliant on 2 methods in order to catch these guys. We are either physically flipping rocks, which has been largely fruitless so far, or deploying minnow traps, which were originally developed for fish monitoring. We've repurposed them for skink monitoring and capture. Get the most out of the minnow traps, there are 2 key elements. First off is positioning. You have to put yourself into the psyche of a skink and decide whether or not this foliage looks particularly appetizing. The other is the bait. We believe most skink species seem to be attracted to sweet-smelling things. We've been trialling almond essence and a lot of tinned pear, which historically has been pretty fruitful, no pun intended.
So I'm just currently marking the traps on the GPS, so hopefully we don't have to work too hard to find them when we come back to check them tomorrow. M24, yeah?
Yeah.
We've now sat 47 traps.
Do you see how quickly I've come up this cliff face? Yes, yes, yes.
We've just caught a skink. I was really confident about where I set this trap to, and this beautiful astelia here, and it worked out of charms.
Credit where credit's due, mate. What a result. Oh, look at that. What a beautiful animal. Right, so I pop them in a bag. I'm keen to get a snow rock in there. Excavate a rock from under the snow, no more than half the volume of the container. Pop all the stuff on top of it, skink at the very, very top, so there's maximum buffer between skink and cool rock. All right, mate. Godspeed. It's these moments that make the hours and hours of searching G-minnows, flipping rocks, it makes it all worth it. Fingers crossed we'll get another one or two.
We got another one! This is without a doubt the biggest one I've ever seen too.
This is number 4. Oh, look at the colour! It's what we live for, it's why we're here. Both Department of Conservation and Auckland Zoo. There is one thing I was put on this planet to do, and it's this. Precious, precious cargo. This is another one, yeah. Look at that. So we've got our 5th Awakawa skink. This is a beautiful, big, healthy male. Good day today, really successful. Yeah, we're cooking on gas. For the next steps from here, we will transport these to Auckland Zoo. They will be fully assessed by our veterinary team. Then they'll be moving into a bespoke facility. We can begin doing the work needed to understand this species. I'm filled with optimism that we are well on our way to saving this species.
I can understand that for some people it might seem a little bit absurd to be in the middle of nowhere trying to look after a lizard that almost nobody's ever seen. But we are losing biodiversity across this planet at an unprecedented rate. A 70% reduction in wildlife populations in my lifetime.
The risk of us sitting by idle would be the extinction of this species. And extinction's forever. More people need to do more, do better. We need to be better as a nation, as a collective, as a species. Because otherwise, we're going to have nothing left. There'll be nothing for our children, and there'll be even less for our children's children. We have a duty of care to this planet. We're all guardians of this planet, and we must do our part to look after it.